In this video, we're going to be taking a deeper look at the C58 assault rifle and comparing it to some of the more popular assault rifles that are currently inside Warzone. If you enjoy weapon stat breakdowns, weapon comparisons and overall tips and tricks for Warzone, don't forget to subscribe to the channel as we're trying to reach our goal of 10,000 subscribers, and also click that link in the description down below and subscribe to our second channel. But like I said, this video is all about comparing the C58 to the CR56 AMAX and also the KRIG, because the AMAX as well as the KRIG are some of the two most popular assault rifles that are currently inside Warzone. And I do want to quickly mention that the AMAX did get a nerf, so we're actually going to incorporate that into this video as well and show you the damage profile for the new AMAX. So first things first, I'm going to show you the class setups that we use to compare all of these weapons, and they're very similar across the board. Obviously we built them for long range engagements. So for the C58, we use the agency suppressor, we use the task force barrel because this is actually one of the best barrels for bullet velocity now, and it also helps with recoil control vertically and horizontally. Then for the underbarrel, we use the field agent grip, and then we did use the Stanag 55 round mags because they don't hurt your ADS as much as the salvo mags. And then lastly, we did choose the axial 3x optic, and that's just my personal favorite optic, but this is the build we use to compare the full class setup. Then for the AMAX, we use this build right here, which is pretty much the meta build for the AMAX. I don't really want to talk too much about this. And then lastly, for the KRIG, we use the agency suppressor, we use the mil-spec barrel, which is very similar to the task force that we used on the C58. So like I said, it's a very similar comparison there. It also helps with recoil quite a lot. And then we use the axial 3x optic, the Stanag 60 round mags, and the field agent grip. But now let's take a look into the handling stats for all three of these guns. So on screen just now, you will see the updated handling stats for all three weapons. We did a retest on the KRIG as well as the AMAX. So for the AMAX, you can see a rate of fire of 630 rounds per minute. The C58 has a rate of fire of 563 rounds per minute, which is really slow. And the KRIG also has a slow rate of fire of 652 rounds per minute. All these guns are slow firing, high damage weapons. And then in terms of ADS times, the KRIG comes out slightly quicker than the C58, but not by much. And then the AMAX is definitely the slowest. When it comes to magazine sizes, the AMAX has the smallest magazine, the KRIG has a 60 round mag, and the C58 sits somewhere in between. Then when it comes to reloads, again the KRIG is the quickest as well, but there's not a huge difference in terms of reload times between any three of these guns. And then lastly, when it comes to bullet velocity, the KRIG is the quickest for its max bullet velocity. The C58 does have an amazing bullet velocity as well, and the AMAX is the slowest. So far from the looks of things, the overall handling on the C58 is pretty good. It's kind of sit somewhere in between the KRIG as well as the AMAX. But as we can see, the bullet velocity values is something that stands out quite importantly here, because having that over 1100 bullet velocity means you're going to be connecting your shots way better at a distance than you would with an AMAX. So the next thing we need to talk about is the damage profiles as well as the time to kill values for all three of these guns. On screen just now, you'll see the damage profile for all three weapons. And recently, before this most recent update, we did get a nerf to the headshot damage on the AMAX. So that's now been reduced down to 52-46. The chest shot damage is now 38-34, but previously, as you can see in red here, it was 42-36. So it did get a significant damage reduction. In terms of TTK now, this is actually enough to increase the TTK of this gun. And the new TTK for the AMAX is 571 milliseconds. Now this was down at about 450 previously, so this is a significant increase to its TTK if you're landing only chest shots. Now at a distance, this increases up to 600 milliseconds, and even if you land a single headshot, this doesn't really change the TTK up close. So with the AMAX now, this is the new TTK profile and it's not really going to change, and this is very similar to the Cold War AK-47. As you can see, the damage profile for the C58 for head damage is 59-55, for chest damage is 44-37, and then the TTK is actually much quicker now than the AMAX, so they pretty much removed. So this is basically the new AMAX. However, the only difference is at longer distances, the C58 doesn't nearly kill as quick as the AMAX. Also, if you do land a single headshot, this doesn't change your TTK whatsoever. And as you can see, the KRIG is trailing when it comes to damage as well as TTK, but as we all know, the KRIG is one of the most accurate guns in the game, so even though it doesn't kill as quick, you're definitely going to be landing more of your shots, and a 644 millisecond time to kill up close is not bad at all, and a 736 millisecond time to kill at those longer distances is pretty good as well. Like I said though, the only real issue with all three of these weapons is that you're going to need to land 2 or more headshots to actually significantly reduce this time to kill in any way, which is less down to luck and more down to skill. When it comes to the C58, it does have raw TTK up close, but when you go past maybe 30 to 40 meters, you're going to be in that 640 millisecond time to kill range, and it is still a really fast time to kill, but the AMAX still beats it at those longer distances, so it just depends on where your gunfights are going to take place. And a lot of this is going to come down to if you can actually land your shots at range as well. And we're going to be taking a look at the recoil now. So on screen just now, you'll see a recoil chart taken at a 20 meter distance. And as you can see, we've got the AMAX on the left, the C58 down the middle, and the KRIG on the right. And we're using the class setups I showed you earlier on. And as you can see, the KRIG is by far and away the most accurate gun on this list. The recoil is basically vertically upwards. And with these new barrels now, this makes the recoil on the KRIG so easy to manage, it's ridiculous. Now, if you look at the AMAX, it's still pretty straightforward to manage. It does have a lot more side-to-side bounce than the other two weapons. And the C58 is also a very accurate gun as well. Now, it has a little bit more bounce than the KRIG, but like I said, the KRIG is an absolute laser beam now. It's pretty much one of the best weapons to use in the entire game. Another thing that I've really noticed with the C58 when it comes to recoil is that there's not a lot of visual recoil with this gun either. So it's pretty much a point and shoot gun, and that combined with this recoil pattern you see on screen just now, along with the bullet velocity it has, this gun is going to be a super accurate, high damage weapon in the game. So where does this leave us now? Now, to summarize this video, what we can take away from this is that the KRIG, if you're looking for an absolute laser beam, is a great option. It has more damage than some of the other weapons in the game, like the Grau or the Kilo. So if you're looking at a low recoil weapon, definitely go for the KRIG. Now, comparing the C58 and the AMAX, so when it comes to the C58 versus the AMAX, now it's going to depend on what you value more. If you value close range TTK more, then go for the C58. If you value long range TTK more, go for the AMAX. But something has to be said about the C58's recoil pattern. It is easier to manage than the CR56 AMAX. So I do believe that the C58 is going to be the new best weapon when it comes to long range assault rifles. But let me know what you think about these guns down in the comments below. If you learned something new, don't forget to subscribe to the channel as we try to reach our goal of 10,000 subscribers. And also click that link in the description and subscribe to our second channel as well. And thank you very much for watching.